How you doing, community? This is NECA with Reshape the Soul, and I wanted to share with you 7 strategies for personal success that I have found that have really elevated my ideas and my thought processes around how to be a successful person. And when I talk about success, I realize that many people will have many different definitions for what that means for them. But some of the key strategies that I have found are useful are something that we can employ in our personal lives to help us reach our level of personal success, our level of fulfillment, our level of going toward that purpose that we are desiring in our lives. And this is a journey. It's not always about the destination. It's really about the attitude that you carry with you as you continue throughout this journey. So I wanted to share with you some of those strategies that I think are really important, what I found over the years to really be helpful. And the first thing that we would have to do is first, we need to figure out what it is that we actually want. And a lot of times, what we want is wrapped up in what we're purposed to do. It is part of the vision that not only we have for ourselves, we find that we can't seem to shake this thing. There's something that we really want to do in the world and we can't seem to shake it. It's not that we came up with it and snatched it out of the blue sky. That is a vision that was given to us, I believe, by God, who gives us purpose and who placed us here on purpose. And so the first thing that we need to do is really be in connection with understanding what is it that God has me to do on the earth? What does he want me to do? How does he want me to serve and facilitate the growth and expansion of other people? How is it that he wants me to show up in the world? And a part of that is that nagging thing that's inside of you that just won't let you go. For me, that nagging thing is helping women get free from bondage, from like the bondage of patterns that you've set up in survival mode, patterns that you've created because you were afraid of something and this is what you needed to do to protect yourself. And you may not even realize that you're using those patterns. And eventually they become prisons that keep you locked out of the destiny and the place that you really want to be in your life. And so I'm on this journey too. I'm not here saying that I have arrived. I am actually in the process as well. But so I wanted to share some strategies. These are the things that I have found to be helpful. Number one, start with what you want. Start with that vision, finding out and connecting to that place that says, this is what I actually want in my life. Not what I've been settling for. This is what I want in my life, and being intentional about that. The other thing is, who am I? Like, what we really have to get in touch with our identity and who and where we are right now. A lot of what we have adopted as ourselves and as our identity was also born out of that place of survival mode. I know if you've been around the Reshape the Soul community, then you know that I tend to talk about things that are associated with how we were shaped as children or how we were shaped as young people who went through different experiences in our lives, and even as adults that may have been traumatic and that have caused us some pain and caused us to develop some strategies that will be protective of our emotions, we think, but actually tend to be destructive to our purpose and our future. And so I would love to just have that conversation around being more aware of what it is that is holding you back, what's keeping you in survival mode, what's keeping you from identifying who you are right now and then identifying who you need to become. Now, I don't mean that to say you need to be a different person. What I really mean that to say is you need to be you and be comfortable being you and be confident being you, being in a place where you are okay with the person that you are and the one that God created you to be. Coming to understand that identity will also direct you in that purpose and lead you into that place where this is the vision that God has for me. This is what I actually want. I want to be an author, but I like sleep a lot. So whatever the case is for you, if you want to be, a doctor, but it doesn't align with who you are. You want to be a doctor because that's what your mama and your daddy said, and it doesn't align with who you are as an individual because you can't stand the sight of blood and you pass out. What is it that you really want? What is it that you really and truly desire in your soul, and what bothers you to the point where you want to take action? Finding that identity and finding out why you want to do that thing is going to be key. Then the next thing is going to be, how do you manage disappointment? One of the coaches that I worked with on one of my health journeys, and yes, I said one of them, don't judge me, um, was really adamant about preparing yourself for the things that derail you. What are those things that are going to derail you from this health journey? And for me, disappointment has been huge. I don't know if any of you have experienced that, but in the last 3 years, I have had more losses than I can count on both my hands. But what I found is what's been the deeper issue is how I address disappointment, how I address being discouraged, how I address not being able to get the result that I want or see the thing I want, achieve the thing that I want to achieve in the time that I want to achieve it. What is the strategy that you would implement for yourself? Because you know you. What would you do when you face disappointment? What have you done in the past to continue to keep going, to not have disappointment be something that completely derails you? For me, I've developed some strategies for myself because I know me. I know how I will react. But what are the things that you will do for yourself when it comes time to dealing with discouragement and making sure that you put those things down on paper? Remind yourself, make sure that they are tools that you can reach out and grab when you need to grab them quickly so that you don't get to the place of disappointment and find you have no tools in your hand to work with. So you definitely want to make sure that you deal with that disappointment. And then again, what is your why? Again, that why is going to be part of that strategy that's going to keep you going. Plenty times I want to quit. I may want to, but my why keeps bringing me back, because when I face an obstacle or if I face some discouragement, the why speaks louder than the discouragement. The why speaks louder than the things I don't see panning out for me in the here and now. The why speaks to the vision. The why speaks to the thing that's thrown out ahead of you. Like when you cast a net out in front of you, you have an expectation that you're going to catch something. You're going to catch some fish. You're going to catch, whatever it is that you have cast your net out to catch. You have that expectation, and there's a reason why. There's a reason why you are doing what you're doing. That's going to have to be the driver for you, because discouragement and disappointment are always going to show up. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Now, it won't be all the time, but you will face it. It will come. And so, what is the strategy that you're going to be able to implement to deal with that and continue looking at your why? Then you want to look at your community. Where is your community? You want to find your tribe, as they say. Find your community of people who are like-minded, but that doesn't mean always agreeing with you. That's not a yes man or a yes woman. That means you have a place of community where you can be authentic, where you can get mentorship and you can receive mentorship. You can help someone by pouring into them. And then you can also be poured into. You can take a look at someone who's 5 to 10 steps ahead of you and receive encouragement, direction, wisdom, even more strategies from them to help you avoid the pitfalls that often lay in the path of purpose, you need someone and someones to help guide you through that. And nobody is their own island. We cannot do this thing alone. So incorporating that community is going to be absolutely important for you to do. The next thing is the gratitude. Where would you say you spend your most time being thankful? Sometimes gratitude is overlooked as just a trivial thing, something that we just do maybe once or twice a year. It's just something that we do when we want to, we take a brief moment and say thank you, and we want to hurry up and get on with it and move on with our day. But actually developing a practice of gratitude has so many more benefits that I think that we often forfeit because we don't see it as heavy and weighty as it is. Practicing gratitude is something that helps you not only elevate your mood, but remove the cloud. So there are some things that I tend to do with gratitude as far as writing them out that help me to see I really have more in my hand than I have outside of my hand. I really have more that I have access to than I claim to not have access to. And sometimes I need to remind myself of that. When I get down in the dumps and when I get an attitude or whatever that is, I have to remind myself that I am working with more than I need, than I'm not working with. So the thing that I think I need, if I don't have it, I don't need it yet. I'm a true believer that God supplies our needs. And so if I don't have it, I don't need it. Now, it might not look like the way I want it to look right now, but I do have what I need. And so I like to spend time. Um, I have something called What's Good. And I spend time looking at what's good in my life. I've used that to actually lift me out of a terrible mood. Now, this is not me saying that if you struggle with depression or anxiety that you need to give up your medical attention and stop going to the counselor, stop taking medications or whatever if you're doing that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is step up your gratitude practice and see how it elevates your mood. One of the things I found with doing that, because I also have been to counseling, and you also know, some of you may know my story, that I did suffer abuse as a child, and that abuse carried into my adulthood. It kept reoccurring. And those are some pretty traumatic stories that I have shared and will share, just because I want to help other people understand that you can overcome it. But my point is that I can really take a deep dive sometimes in those down in the dumps days, even with going through, counseling and all of the things and medical providers. I have used gratitude, the practice of looking at the things that I have in my hand rather than the things that I don't, to lift my mood. By the time I've gotten to the 10th thing on my list, I've actually lifted my mood. By the time I've gotten to that thing on my list, I can feel creativity coming back. And again, this is something I don't think that we highlight enough because we often want to put that in someone else's hands. And what I'm saying is you do have the ability to impact yourself and your mood, and your own strategies can help you to be more successful. So giving yourself the opportunity to go through these things, think about these things, being intentional about it rather than just expecting um, what you do as you mimic someone else to give you the same success. really taking the time to be personal and intentional about what strategies you will implement for the success that is assigned to you, that is what's going to be important. And then the last thing is stress relief. I don't know that we can truly be successful without acknowledging that our soul needs healing. Even if you didn't have a traumatic event such as abuse or, anything like that in your childhood and adulthood, um, you want to be able to spend time relieving the stress of just daily living. We absorb so much that sometimes we don't even recognize it. And when it comes in, it builds up, and our soul is not disconnected from our body. They talk to each other. And so, if you're not doing some sort of practice to relieve that stress, it will show up in your body, and your body will communicate that to your soul. And then you will be in a cyclical event where you're feeling down emotionally. And so then you're feeling down physically. And so then you're feeling down emotionally. And it will all just kind of play on itself over and over and over again. So, really, to break that, get out of that cycle, creating a stress relief practice. Now, for me, part of that is journaling. I want to get my emotions and things out of my head. Part of that is listening to music. Part of that is talking to someone that I know truly is going to listen and not interrupt me and try to one up me. That's also part of your community. But also just getting that practice going. Part of that can be for yoga for some. Part of it can be actually doing meditations and mindfulness for some. But finding your practice that you will do regularly to help you relieve the stress of day-to-day living is going to be part of your success strategy. It's going to be part of the resilience that you need to keep going when you are discouraged or when things don't go your way. It's going to be part of that community that you build of support, where you get in community with other people who might be taking a yoga class or a dance class. I love to listen to music. I love to dance. So these are all things that you can do to really hone in on your personal success, giving yourself the best strategy possible to help you reach the level of success that is important to you, not someone else, important to you. I hope this has been helpful to you and it's been value to you. If you want to reach out to me, I am on Instagram at Reshape the Soul with NECA. I'm also on Facebook, Reshape the Soul with NECA. And I have a Facebook community, Reshape the Soul community. I would love for you to join our community. This is the kind of content that I'll be providing. This is the kind of thing that we'll be talking about, really getting to know ourselves and how to hack those things that might be standing in our way and keeping us from being our best selves. So I really hope that you are blessed with this information, that you will be able to share that with others, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you'll get more of these strategies and more content around really getting unstuck and discontinuing some of those patterns that you created that kept you in a locked place.